did an excellent job just bringing everybody together and getting this thing.
5 today, Sophie Cunningham bid adieu to Melissa Smith. But all she accomplished was to fry the Mystics before facing off against some idiots who spoke like Satan. Indiana Fever's dog Sophie was already behaving like the girl she had sex with. The comment was, "Try me again." Fans of the Fever, welcome to the bodyguard of Caitlin Clark. Since this was a personal issue rather than a basketball one, you all requested to stay.
They are already now attacking Sophie Cunningham. Oh, they're mad. The MAGA Barbies got them angry. They're cheering on violence against this basketball player. Sophie Cunningham just got through by a rookie. And here we go.
Too strong there for Olsen. Cunningham pulls. There you go. He is fierce in the game. And I know it wasn't announced that Caitlin would play until right before. This is a preseason game where Clark is not available.
It's almost inspiring how dedicated each member of the Washington Mystics is to being unimportant. It's like a group project where everyone arrives late, splatters coffee on the report, and then has the audacity to complain when they lose a game. But they weren't just Sophie this time, so I don't play games. Cunningham? Sophie Cunningham's response on court. She mentioned Nelisa Smith, the bench decorator for the Mystic and a former player for the Fever, as a precaution. Sophie, not Melissa, is the name.
It's just kind of who I am. I want to pour into my team as much as possible, and I'm pretty in tune with my body. I can read a room pretty well, and so when I see we're lacking a little bit, you got to step up. But if we're good, you're just there to encourage and give people confidence.
For the Indiana Fever, who are now riding Caitlin Clark mania like the last jet ski at a summer lake party, Sophie Cunningham, the WNBA's newest clapback queen, was the perfect person to deliver that message. This game is prepared to leave an impact. Light up the scoreboard, slam on reputations, and ensure that Caitlin Clark wouldn't have to face an entire defense by herself while getting tackled. The Fever's newest acquisition wasn't there to play nice.
And that's Kiki Arafin, and I got to tell you, here we go with the smiling like you've done. I don't get it. This is the worst part of the WNBA.
The Mystics' idea of defense, meanwhile, appeared to be hovering around, hoping Sophie would overlook her own poor plan. Something Sophie never does. Please subscribe if you find it interesting. They appeared to have wandered onto the court by mistake, thinking it was a Pilates session. They were completely outclassed and brought with them the same energy as a wet paper towel, which is brittle and prone to tearing.
Sophie Cunningham. She was the lead scorer of the entire game for both.
Let's talk about that particular instance now. A Mystics player who was obviously just out of Let's Get Petty's school was part of the dirty play that sparked the criticism. It's like trying to take a steak from a wolf's plate, and you'll get away with it with your fingers still intact, he thought, referring to the idea of physically assaulting Sophie Cunningham on a basketball court. It was bold, naive, and incredibly short since Sophie didn't recoil, crumple, or turn away. Rather, she stood there unmoved and unimpressed, adding, "You know who I am, girl? That's our girl," yelled every Fever fan from home as she glared at the Mystics player with the kind of intensity that wrecks confidence and rips paint off walls. Caitlin Clark, Sophie Cunningham will not put up with your actions and will not allow anyone to threaten her without repercussions.
Here we go. Need Kiki to whack her again. Guys, it's where we're at. I mean, what are we doing? What are we doing? Right there, you can see Sophie telling her after that flagrant, "You don't mother effing do that. You don't mother effing do that."
Sophie is the player that the Fever's supporters have been begging for, someone who will not back down from a challenge with their golden rookie. In a Whole Foods parking lot, she will undoubtedly call your bluff because she has the mental toughness of a linebacker, the quickness of an assassin, and the personality of a woman. Melissa Smith, meanwhile, appeared on the other side like a soap opera reject. Do you recall Melissa from The Fever before the franchise replaced her with a character who never departs at crucial moments and escorted her out the door? Take a look at what has changed since then. Sophie resembles a bewildered mall Santa. People who ask too many inquiries may come across as improper and strangely hot.
Moment that happened within this really good game. Kiki Arafin getting a flagrant foul, and then also Brittany Sykes getting a flagrant foul. All the same.
When they substituted me for Nalissa, you could practically hear the conversation going on in her mind, but I responded, "Yes, sweetie, you were, and now you're not." Maybe check your pulse if it didn't hurt to watch your replacement silence opponents with one terrifying gaze, defend her friends, and drop buckets. The Mystics are a cautionary story, honey, not simply a squad. They appear to be conducting a basketball simulation created by interns each time they hit the court. They have one of the nicest things Sophia saw was children attempting to use juice cartons to put out a home fire. Sophie defended ferociously, moved deliberately, and handled that Mystics matchup like a private therapy session. Only instead of talking about her feelings, she worked them out by lighting up the scoreboard. She didn't even need to flex her yield, perform a victory dance, or let her inner diva out. She drains shots with the assurance of a lady whose adversaries have blocked her, whose objectives coincide, and who keeps her receipts on hand. Her taunt.
We're going to make shots, and offensively, we have every good outfit that you possibly need, but defensively is where we need to really dial it.
1. We should pause for a moment to let's take a moment to honor Caitlin Clark because she has been open season. The newbie went into a prison yard with a copy of How to Win Friends and Influence People, a Hello Kitty backpack, and every veteran with a grievance. "You don't get to treat our star rookie like a tackling dummy with a Nike deal," was what the Fever wanted someone to say. As if it were an unwritten rite of passage, they have been taking turns hurling elbows, hard fouls, and side eyes over their shoulders. You would think Clark would have joined the league, locked her ass, and demanded parking for everyone.
I gotta say, it is so evident when Caitlin Clark is not on the court for the Indiana Fever. She is such a floor general. She is such the X factor for the Indiana Fever. She leads the way when they don't have her. I've said this before, but the Indiana Fever look like a
Sophie Cunningham is next. Instead of simply stepping up to the bat, she entered the situation like a PhD holding one woman. Demolition crew. The referee's eyesight and Clark's patience were stretched to the limit by a Mystics player, and Sophie declared, "That's enough." However, there was no posturing or excessive drama, just a reliable reminder that not every member of the Fever roster will allow you to treat your teammate like a chew toy, which is exactly what Fever fans have been yelling for someone to do. Physicality and presence were used in a language that the entire arena understood. With that edge of vintage, the athlete responds appropriately when strong knocks and cheap fouls are viewed as disrespect rather than as a tactic. Rather than merely enjoying the game, this individual policies it. Sophie Cunningham. Fortunately for Caitlin Clark, her guardian would likely screen a grizzly bear to make room for her partner. The Mystics team addresses charges. She is there. For respect, retribution, and rebounding, not for the handshakes and hugs.
It might take a player a little bit to find their rhythm. Not for you, though. You look like mid-season form out there, and your first time in a Fever uniform. How ready were you for this moment? I didn't play in the offseason. I just want to get my body right. I had a couple surgeries. But you know what? This is a new era for me. This is just a fresh breath. Oh my gosh, I can't even speak. Fresh breath air. And we just have a really great group. We have a lot of great vets. We have a lot of young people who want to win, have the will to win, a bunch of dogs. And so I'm just coming in with a great attitude, just doing it as a team.
In contrast, Melissa Smith seems to have inadvertently wandered into her own professional reversal. You could really hear the sorrowful trombone playing in the background as the camera panned to her. Although it was intended to be a game of retaliation, wasn't it also a chance to demonstrate that she's still that girl and to show the Fever that they were mistaken? Melissa, on the other hand, blended in so well that she may have been mistaken for a piece of the arena's decor. Melissa would excel at the skill of invisibility, but it was more of an unread LinkedIn post than a redemption tale. However, whenever Sophie clamped down on defense or growled back after impact, Fever's fans yelled as though it were the 4th of July and she was using her bare fist to light fireworks. Although points are significant, the following is what this signifies for WNBA sportsmanship. This team will give you a 6-foot reminder that they are no longer a soft team if you attempt to bully them.
We're a new team, right? You have a lot of newcomers, you have a new front office, a new coaching staff, you have a new system, and so it's going to take a little bit of time. This is the first time that we actually got up and down like that, and so I'm not worried about it. I think for us it's more on the defensive end. I think offensively, I think everyone knows that, we're...
Do you really believe that you can ignore Caitlin Clark and not have a Sophie Cunningham special left at your door? I wish you luck in that endeavor. This isn't the squad that crumbles under duress or allows their rookie to be examined while everyone looks on in disbelief next Tuesday. Sophie has her own fucking gavel, and now is her moment. The message was clear. Don't mess with Caitlin Clark if you don't want a lot of Sophie smoke to accompany it. The Washington Mystics and their terrible intimidation attempt are at the top of this sisterhood, which is more than just a team now that they have receipts and a hit list.
Icy Sophie Cunningham, you can call her because she was out there, she was feisty, she was fiery, and all that. But what a target on our backs. Obviously, the Fever, the most hyped team, the most talked about team, and now a team that has some protection within, right? Some support within, some toughness within, which bodes well for once Caitlin Clark is back on the floor because you're now surrounding her with the talent. Kelsey Mitchell, Aaliyah Boston were there before, but the toughness as
Conclusion and future plans. With a basketball in one hand and a smirk in the other, Sophie Cunningham is surgery. Not only does she outshine you, but she also uses spectacle to deconstruct you in public. Then, just when you think it can't get any worse, she comes back for the encore to ensure that the lesson is retained. Perhaps the next time someone brings elbows, ego, and an overblown sense of self to her, they should reconsider. Nalissa, who is currently on the sidelines, is tending to her injured pride and ponders how a competition could have evolved into a masterclass while she's showing off. Then, even if the outro and subscribe reminder isn't that great, she makes an appearance in a Sophie Cunningham highlight clip. Such phrases as "what happened here" and "yikes, so congrats" are common on sports talk shows. Sophie rips through. Your defense like a hot knife through butter. And you were also, Washington Mystics are the hazy picture in a freeze frame. This wasn't a game. You were cautionary material.
Things like that, right? You can get physical, defensively. You're stopping your man, you're getting in front of him, not letting them get by you, you're bumping into them, making sure they feel your presence. Things like that, that is physicality that I like to see in basketball. Like, I don't necessarily want to see people body slamming each other. Body slamming each other all over the court is unnecessary. Come on, man, we don't need that. I really do enjoy these women.
The message was, if you're after Sophie, you need more than just elbow sweat and trash talk. You need a strategy, a prayer, and a backup plan in case the first one doesn't work out. Nalissa is no exception. It's acceptable to modify your mind because everyone has different skills. You might teach ceramics, for instance, or visit a serene mountain resort where Sophie Cunningham's highlights are hidden. Sophie will be out there doing what she does best in the interim, leading with the expertise of a seasoned veteran who wins like it's every Tuesday and fights like every possession is a championship point. You can achieve your aspirations, Haunt. There is more to it than just a player taking the court. Sophie is a force to be reckoned with, clad in a jersey, and here not for attention, but for dominance. Every ball bounce contributes to her increasing legend, and she dominates the game, as if it were her own domain.
thing from the Fever's preseason win over the Washington Mystics. I've talked about the toughness and tenacity that the team has added. This was a team that got punked at times last year, that got pushed around at times last year. And you saw that in a few ways. I already talked about Sophie Cunningham and what she brought to the table and what she brought from a toughness standpoint.
Disregard the noise. Don't pay attention to those who doubt. The court is both a stage and a battlefield, and every performance is a news story, as Sophie has made clear. She does more than just show up, she takes charge of the situation, sets the tempo, and manages the energy. She is actively affecting the future in real time, rather than just watching it happen. The Sophie era has already begun, so buckle on, die-hard fans. She has your back, your rookie front, and the league's undivided attention. Sophie brings intensity, confidence, and victories, but she also has bruises to deal with and doesn't want to slow down. I wish you luck if your team is the next one scheduled. You'll need it. Or simply give your chiropractor a call in advance.